Don't you know we're just starting? But you sure we got the clue how that this we go. Don't you know no more art? And as you look to the horizon, not a cloud, but then stormy weather's go too cold. Seems like it crept up out of nowhere, all around you is not what you foretold. You never see it coming. You see that my mind is too fast for eyes. You're done, but the time is hit you, you're not surprised.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newsroom and welcome to the Galtopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming off of the King Tut escape, exiling, migration, if you will. The ramifications and the consequences of King Tut leaving has not been felt just yet. Some of you are probably like, GTG, what do you mean? Well, as you guys know, Phil has his 10-year appreciation stream coming up. I'm sure that's going to be whatever that is. We'll take some pop shots at that as the video goes along. But the hardcore begging season has started, ladies and gentlemen. And we have to look at what King Tut brought to the table. Now, according to Kiwi Farms, as I said in my last broadcast, King Tut made up about 40+% of DSP's income. Now, going into Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, I wouldn't be surprised if that ended up making it as far as 55%. If that's an enormous amount of money for one person to be coming through with. And as you guys know, Phil had a tough time this time last year. You know, Panda had made her escape. He was still feeling down in the dumps. His depression was getting the best of him. And he was so strapped for cash that he couldn't turn his heat on. Yet he had enough wherewithal and finances to go and buy a bunch of alcohol so they could have that drinking stream. Though it's questionable exactly how much he drank during that stream. He was able to also buy a new Halloween costume, which Kat picked out, though we did not know of Kat per se at that moment. But the money was there for that, and then holiday sweaters, semantics. I know, semantics. I'm nitpicking at this point. This time last year was a hard time for Phil, and going through Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, we will go over those events from last year, while also bringing you this year's events. I want to see how he matches up on the scale, on perpetual failure. How will that work out? Now, let's talk a little bit about that appreciation stream that he's going to have. Now, I'm going to be late about this. You guys know how this works, but I would assume it's going to be bad. I assume it's going to be boring, and I'm expecting some reaction out of him because for the first time, I mean seriously, for the first time, he'll kind of be forced to watch his own material. I mean, he'll really have to watch it. Not just look through it just for the sake of ad revenue. Like, he's really going to have to watch it. So it makes me wonder, is he really going to be so proud of his 10 years as being a content creator on the internet when he actually sees the labor of his work? You know, the same garbage we all see. How proud will he be then? And more importantly than that, how is he going to feel confronting the ghosts of his past? That's semantics. We'll talk about that when we cross that bridge. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with one of my favorites, Snort Burnell, Dspgaming. It's not a big thing that Tut is gone and talking about the Detractors. King Tut is going to cut Phil to the bone, I think. Now, there's a speculation out there that Phil is going to reach out to Tut, if he hasn't already, and maybe Tut's going to come back after a little while and come under maybe a whole new name and whatnot, and Swaggins and Sidella will finally be put back in their cages and all will be well. I wouldn't think it'll be that easy, but we'll see. In any case, Tut understands how the game is played now. He understands how favoritism works over there. And now he has an opportunity to flex his muscle. He has a real opportunity to bring something, positive or negative, to Phil's chat. But he's already seen the negative side of that. He's already seen the ugly side of DSP's chat/community. Can Tut's money really buy the positivity that he's hoping it will? We'll see. Now, let's talk about Low Tier God for a minute. As you guys know, Tut has migrated himself over there to what I was calling North Galtopia, or Upper Galtopia, I'm sorry, to Low Tier God, my guy. You know how that works out. I'm sure they're gonna be a whole lot smarter in handling Tut. Now, is Tut gonna find himself a permanent home there? Probably not. Tut's probably gonna migrate around as usual. Now, when you think of the concept of King Tut, and I still have a video to do on all that collectively, if he is a massive troll, when is enough enough? Most people will condemn you for making videos and being like, how much time do you put into these things? Is it worth doing? And it's not amongst just DSP. Rich, Monday Matt, who's made an apology that doesn't even seem to be worth time, but it'll fit into my timeline, so we'll work that out as it comes about. Rich, Angry Joe, whoever, take your pick. They all make these apologies and so on and so forth. That doesn't really mean a damn at any point. The damage has been done. the damage has most certainly been done. But is it really? But for all the trolling that goes along, and for whatever time that is spent doing it, is it really worth putting your money up? And how much money are you willing to drum up to troll? Seriously. Now, Tut has thrown up thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars for someone who's not a true believer. You know what I mean? Not a Swaggins, not a Sidella, not some of these guys. Those guys are real believers. They're knee deep and waist deep, if you will, in the Kool-Aid. They're never going to come out. But someone like Tut isn't. So what is Tut's endgame? It can't be trolling. Because even if you had the liquid assets to do it, would you do it? No. There's better ways to troll Phil using your money than that. So he has to have some type of end game. He has to have some type of agenda. What it is, not sure. His leaving the DSP community is certainly felt by some of the people in the chat who actually legitimately feel bad and who lashed out at Sidella and, or at least Sidella's sock account, and at Swaggins for their fuck up. Which is even more ironic that it was DSP who screwed the situation up, because he could have put a stop to it from the beginning, but he was too lazy to. And yet his will was done through the acts of two other people. I want you to think about that for a minute. Though, whether you want to say Phil was in the room or not, whether his head was in the chat or not, his will, the negativity that this man propels, very much led the way to Tut leaving. So at a time that he didn't want it to. Think about it. It's just like how I said with Brightside Viking. He was an attack dog that was with the switch always on attack. That was it. That was his job. Now you have two others that did it too, and they didn't even know. And in truth, do either one of them even know why they're attacking him? Swaggins probably did it out of jealousy. But Sidella, what was Sidella's gain in all that? And in any case, neither one of them could reel themselves back. I understand that Swaggins is saying he doesn't understand what's going on, this, that, and the third. It was a misunderstanding, this, that, and the third. We'll let time tell on that. But what's Sidella's move? Especially since he's out here allegedly trying to groom these underage girls. Oh, my bad. Well, since the cat's out of the bag. Alleged, Sidella's out there on Twitter basically pumping out his frustrations, if you will, to some underage girls. Are any of us surprised? He's just following Daddy Dave. Daddy Dave taught him well. Get him young, get him dumb. Because at the end of the day, someone has to cook that sweet-ass din-din. Or yum-yum. I don't know. I didn't know where I was going to go with that one. So it kind of works out in that type of meta that goes on over there. Now, this is all alleged. All alleged. As part of the fake news media. I should say that. Just, some professional integrity, if you will. But interesting story nonetheless. We'll touch on that. Not in that way, but we'll touch on that later. In any case, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the video at hand. And he's going to be talking about the Detractors again. A buzz phrase for Phil that just never seems to stop. For someone who's all about positivity and all about having a positive, safe, and just enjoyable environment, he seems to always want to bring the toxicity back in, which doesn't make too much sense because at the end of the day, I'm just a brain dead detractor. What the fuck do you care about what I do? You know what I mean? I'm the one who has no life and shit, and I'm the one that's actively trying to bring you down. I'm trying to hurt you and whatnot, though I've made no physical threats to you at all. I don't think I've really even made any mental threats to you. If you hate the fact that I'm able to anticipate most of your movements, then that's on you. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Have some variety in your life. But since you can't do that, since you're incapable of doing that, then that causes people like me to do what we do. It is what it is. It's a dirty job, but somebody has to do it. In any case, let's go ahead and get into the video at hand. I won't hold it off on it any longer. And the Civil War has come to a end for now, but the war itself for North and South Galtopia still rages. And we will continue to bring our late, never-breaking coverage for it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News. Always late, never-breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. A GTG Network and Productions. You guys all know the slogan. It's time to watch me work.
Warning everyone. Warning. What you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting. Sound good?
Alright, sounds good to me.
Only one brief thing that I want to say here in stream chat before we get started with today's plug.
So let's go ahead and get back into it. We are here with Snort Burnell, Dspgaming. It's not a big deal that Tutmosis is gone and talking about the Detractors. Riveting, I'm sure.
And then the shout outs and everything. Very simply put, yesterday we had drama in the stream chat when I wasn't even paying attention to it because I was doing my pre-stream. I was doing my plugs or whatever. And we had some drama. Guess what? The drama's, taken care of. I've spoken to all parties involved and taken care of all of it, and everything's fine. So there's no reason for anyone to bring up any drama.
Now, I want you to think about this for just a second, right? What did Phil have to do, or what did Phil say to King Tut? Now, Tut's not officially back. I know some people have said they've spotted him in his in the directory for people who are on your streams, but he hasn't actually returned yet. You know what I'm saying? There hasn't been a triumphant return as of yet of the king. But what did he have to say? What did Phil have to? What kind of reassurances did he have to put out there to get Tut to come back, or to hopefully come back? Now, if King Tut's smart, he's going to wait. He's going to buy his time. He's in no hurry. Phil is the one who's desperate, not Tut. Like I said before in my last broadcast, Tut can go anywhere and he's going to be good everywhere. Phil's the one that has to beg and plead. Phil's the one that has to sit there and live with the humiliation that if Tut pops up on LTG's stream, for example, and starts making it rain, that he has to sit there and live with that dumb shit. And then, which in turn will only trickle down to Swaggins and Sidella. And possibly, Jake Lug Likes Cats, who was banned temporarily and then was brought back with no repercussions. Then again, Jake Likes Cats actually has an insurance policy. He's cool with people in Phil's circle, if you will, who actually have some clout. So he was, which is why he keeps coming back. He's living up to that 9 Live thing. He really is. So Phil himself has put himself in a very, very bad situation. He can't reel in a mod. He can't reel in some rogue guy who has to send death threats out to people, who officially is banned, by the way. So he's basically committing ban evasion by coming back onto the stream, onto Twitch altogether. And he took everything out on this one guy who exposed basically the Sidella aspect of it. And at the end of all of that, this all could have been worked out. This all could have been avoided if he would just paid more attention. It's all on the same screen. You merely have to move your eyes over. And he couldn't do it. It was too hard. he couldn't give a shout out and regulate what is going to perpetuate into his financial downfall. He couldn't be bothered with that for whatever reason, and it cost him. So now he's going to feed the narrative to basically the roach nest, the cult, that is not so bad, everything's fine, but you guys are probably going to need to step up a little more. Because to be honest with you, 40% is 40%. Somebody has to fill that gap. Someone has to fill that. And guess how that's going to work? In the same ways that YouTube had to step up. Some of those guys who come to the streams, who give their little $1, $5, $10, you might need to jump that up to $20, $40, $60. You know, I don't feel like, or my bad, Dave doesn't feel like you're appreciating his content. And since he let one of the largest whales he ever had swim away, essentially, Free Willy, if you will, you guys are going to have to step up Big Willie style and make that shit happen. Get jiggy with it, ladies and gentlemen. DSP News.
To come in and try to stir more drama. At this point, just addressing it creates more. And as you guys know, let's be very honest about this. Recently, everything here's been good, right? Everything on the streams has been great. Attendance has been up. People have been enjoying no matter what game I play. They've been able to chill and have fun without drama. It's been very drama-free. There hasn't been any negativity. There's been no problems. Everything's been good recently.
I made a ridiculous fuck ton of money.
And I think the thing is that yesterday, because there was a small amount of drama, the people who latch onto that because they have very boring fucking lives and all they try to do is cause more and or you spin the drama to get attention for themselves, those people, I believe, have latched onto this little bit of drama that happened yesterday to try to blow it out of proportion to make it act like it's something important or significant or something that it's not. In reality, it was something that lasted about 15, 20 minutes tops, and then once gameplay started, it all ended. So, I don't even know where it's all coming from.
Alright, let me cut in. First off and foremost, instead of dealing with the problem and addressing it directly, he doesn't want to do none of that. Okay, that's the coward's way of going about it if that's how you feel. Go ahead and do what you gotta do, Dave. Secondly, latching on to this little situation because of boring lives. Phil, as someone who reports on what you do, and not even day to day, because there's just too much shit to keep up with, but your life is kind of boring in a lot of ways. Like, what life do you have? The people who are in this room with me currently, myself, the people who are listening to this, they all have things in their life to do. You're a hobby. You're meek. You're just something that I do to blow a little bit of time off while I'm ready to do something else. You're a point of reference that I use to be entertaining for other people. Because you can't do it on your own. You can't be entertaining on your own. And that's going to be proven in this in that appreciation stream for your 10 years. Okay? Because I want to spend the whole 10 hours watching it or however long it's going to be. Obviously, like everybody else, go over to the Tevin's channel, watch it there, and whatnot. Show our Almighty the love and support that he deserves. Praise be Almighty. That's where I'm going to go and watch it. But I feel like you're making a mistake doing that. Because, in truth, I'm not going over to Tevin's stream, I mean Dave actually doing this thing all together. DSP is going to fuck himself in a way that you'll see what I mean in a minute. This stream is going to expose, one, how boring his content really is. And he's going to have to face it. And his fan base is going to have to face it. They're going to get to see their Lord and Snout actually sit there and react to his own shit and watch how mundane he's going to look as he goes through his own material. Two, I would assume a lot of this shit's going to be hand-picked and cherry-picked by him, which means it's going to be even more boring because he's not picking stuff to be entertaining, if I had to guess. He's going to... Excuse me. He's going to pick stuff that's safe. Three, and this is going to be equally as important. Yet, and as I said earlier on, he's going to have to face the ghosts of his past. Mainly John. Mainly John. Panda, I'm sure, here or there, but definitely John. Now, how many videos will we see with John in it? Not sure. But I know that there is a demand going on right now that he goes over Project 7, which we're going to do a Gout and Wine about that. Not all of it, because it's just way too long to go over. But, and I would assume that will be the crown jewel of that stream, is Project 7, for obvious reasons. Now, in any case, and despite how that situation is going to go, that stream is going to be boring as shit. I guarantee it. I can't tell you what numbers are going to be. I can't tell you how long it's going to last for. But it's going to be boring. It's going to be very boring. So praise be Almighty for sacrificing himself for our sins to watch Phil fail. Because that's pretty much what Tevin's going to do for us. And praise be him for that. And repent for any of you who ever doubt a detractor. Praise be Almighty. To the gout, to the doubt, and to the snout. Amen. In any case. Phil's just going to sweep this under the rug, which is what it sounds like. And he's going to try to put down the detractors like it's our fault. Like we were in the chat stirring all this shit up, which didn't have nothing to do with us. Most people were scrambling just to get the shit captured because who would have thought you guys would have gone full nut and and screw up a good thing. But then again, that goes back to something I said in my last broadcast and the fact that how long has Tut felt that way? How long has Tut really... When did Tut come to the conclusion that it's time for me to make my exit? I have to go. My kingdom needs me. How long has he felt that he's the need to do that? And how long has Swaggins been digging at him to cause him to do that? And whoever else was involved in that besides Sidella. Let's go ahead and take the blame like a good detractor does. DSP News.
Quite frankly, at all. I don't understand because it's all over-exaggerated crap as usual. You know, my opinion and my recommendation, stay away from that crap. If you're here to have fun and just chill with me on the stream, you know, then just do so. And there's no reason to even talk about it, right? So that's all I'm going to say. Because already
and actually, in some ways, this is kind of a mundane Matt type of tactic. You know what I'm saying? In the fact that he was exposed, and then he didn't address it, and as of the time that I'm recording this, he's actually come out and said something as it pertains to the situation, meaning Monday Matt. For Phil, it's not too far off of the mark. You owe this money, he definitely owes money, but you need this money that Tut provides. This is very, very important to you. And you playing it off like it's not that big of a deal, while behind the scenes, as he likes to word it, you're begging and pleading for Tut to come back, is a bit dishonest. And not just to the onlookers, but to yourself. It looks bad. So if it's true, the theory that's going around about you took yourself a nice little staycation for a day or two, then that looks even worse. And it just goes to show that, ladies and gentlemen, that he didn't learn from his own history. History is a great teacher if you're willing to listen. But if that is the case, he's fucked up twice. And it's ironic that he comes back from an alleged staycation only to lose his largest whale, who in turn funded that same vacation. Staycation. As the plot thickens. Let's continue.
see a lot of people coming into the stream chat today. What's going on with that? What's going on? Nothing. It's literally been completely over-exaggerated and blown out of proportion by people who are just looking to get attention because there's nothing going on. There's no drama with DSP now.
Fuck you. You're a liar.
And because of that, these people are so fucking bored that they're trying to stir the pot. And so just ignore it, okay? And the truth is, if anyone tries to stir the pot today, just forewarning.
Well, I'm just being honest with you, Phil. With all the sugar and water that's in that pot, I mean, someone has to stir it. Someone has to help it reduce. It might be able to be saved. Okay, it can't be saved. But I thought I'd try. The meatballs have been burned. The sausage is still undercooked, which is amazing in its own right. There's way too much water in it. The sugar itself is not actually adding or taking away from anything. It's just a mess, Phil. That's kind of what this situation is. This situation is a pot of his sauce. And his sauce, to some degree, is pasta sauce or tomato sauce or family gout sauce, whatever you want to call it, has the potential to be something. It has the potential to be something. But he's so stuck in his ways that he never gave that up. I want to look at that recipe a little closer. I have to go back to the video when he first introduces it, and I want to see where it says a pound of sugar, or however many cups of sugar he puts in that shit. I want to see that because I've heard of people putting sugar in their pasta sauce, but we're talking about like teaspoons of that shit. Maybe tablespoons of it. Not cups of it. It just doesn't happen. And his sauce is watery. It's not chunky. You know what I mean? It's not full body. You know? Shit. People put wine in their pasta sauce. I do. And it's great, by the way. But a little goes a long way. And start off with red first before you decide to go with white. Red's always a good choice. But that's neither here nor there. This whole situation here is basically his pasta sauce going awry. And it's just terrible. And yet he's serving it up to everybody, telling them it's delicious. You'll like it. Don't worry about what everybody else is saying about it. Just eat it. It is what it is. Let's continue.
Not gonna put up with it. This is a very chill Dragon Quest stream, and people don't want to come in and hear about all negative nonsense and drama. So if you try to stir that pot, you will find yourself getting a boot to your ass, and you'll be right out the door, okay? So just a forewarning, I'm saying this up front. None of that crap today. Today's going to be a very positive, fun, chill stream, and that's how I'm approaching it, and that's it. We're moving on from the crap, okay?
Of course, a million people, why doesn't Phil just get a job? Why doesn't Phil just get another job? Makes sense, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? You don't seem to understand the reality of the situation is this is a fucking scam and a fundraising scheme, and I just don't want to go get another job.
We have Genetic Gamer, who cheered, and he said, Phil, I feel that there are detractors who come into your chat and pretend to be fans. You think if you do not like something or someone, you would stay away from it. Why do you think these detractors keep trying to interact with you when they clearly don't like you? I think that there are different groups of people who watch my content. I think, yes, there are other people who are staunch fans. They like everything I put out, and they'll come by no matter what game I'm playing, and they'll hang out with me no matter what because they enjoy myself and my personality. They like the stream chat, and they just want to chill. Then I think there are people who come by dependent on the game that I'm playing. Maybe they don't particularly like to see me play a JRPG, but they love it when I try to learn a fighting game and play a competitive match, and I rage when lag comes into effect, etc., right? There are people who just come by when I play games like Dark Souls and the like, and I understand that, okay? Then there's people who come by literally just to troll. They'll only come by when I'm going to be playing a game that seems like it'll cause me rage, alright? And their whole enjoyment that they get out of the stream is seeing me get frustrated and or struggle with the game.
And then basically laugh at me. So they're not laughing with me. These are people who are here just to deride me and laugh at me, okay? Oh my god!
Safe zone evac orders are in effect.
I can't concentrate.
And then you've got the fourth case, which I think is the people who the Genetic Gamer is referencing. People who really just don't like me, and they come in and try to impersonate, like, oh, I'm a stream viewer, and I'm a fan of Phil. And then they're just waiting, they're biding their time so that they can do a cheer with something really nasty in it, or, you know, they can wait and do some insult or reference a detractor. And the reason they do this is because, basically, they're trying to get attention for themselves. You know.
In reality, they can't actually get any kind of positive attention for themselves in their real lives. So they figure if they could get some kind of negative attention on a streamer's stream, this is something that at least they got noticed, right?
And Snort Burnell brings up, as always, a great point that, yeah, we're so miserable that we're locked up in our house all day playing video games and calling that our depression. I want you to think about that for a minute. How does a man call other people, who says that other people have no lives, they're brain dead idiots, they're mentally ill, so on and so forth, and yet he's the one who's locked up in his own prison, which is his mansion. He's locked, and then he's behind a debt paywall that he may or may not ever get from under. And then he's so stuck in his ways that he won't change, this is coming directly from his fan base, not from the detractors or trolls. He won't change to make himself more entertaining to his fans. The ones who give him money, the ones who give him views, the one who come out to his to his streams to support him and aka hang out with him, aka make my stream a lot better for me. They're prisoners too, just like Phil is. They're in the same box that he's in. Willingly at that point. You know what I mean? They willingly imprison themselves with him. And he himself isolated himself and put himself in this situation because I would say almost from the beginning, since he started YouTube, he was a piece of shit. And that's all he produced his whole way through his career. So you being online for 10 years doesn't mean a goddamn thing if you've just been a negative piece of shit. But now you're older. And now you don't want it no more. Now you're not ready to take that heat no more. You don't want no fire. You don't want no smoke. But the problem is, Phil, is the road that you took for 10 years, there's still people on that road waiting to get back at you. There are people back there that still have their grievances. You know, because you didn't address the situation. You didn't make apologies. You weren't even just man enough to stand on your own 2 feet. You talked your shit and you ran. And then somehow you thought that was going to go away. And for some of those people, they did let it go away. But for other people, there are detractors. And you just support them. And then you have other people who take it a step further and troll you directly. Because you're kind of simple in some ways. And the fact that there are people, I've seen it on Tevin streams, where there'll be people that will blatantly shit on Phil. And he just doesn't catch it for whatever reason. At first I thought he was just ignoring it because he was just going to collect his shillings and keep it moving. But in truth, you just don't get it. You're not catching some of the zingers that are being thrown at you. And that's fine. There's some clever people out there. But when it comes to being brain dead, mindless, don't have any lives, don't have anything better to do, then what are you? What makes you any better then? What do you have going on in your life? Oh, I want to just sit here, play games, and enjoy my experiences and have fun. You've been rattling that same bullshit off for like 7 or 8 years. And what came out of it? Nothing. The only thing that makes you relevant now are the very people that you're telling your fan base not to go watch. Because you're scared that they might convert. You're scared that they might be able to see through the brainwashing and might have what most people would call a moment of clarity. You're scared that some of those same people are going to turn against you when they see the lies. When they realize that they've been taken for a fool for all these years. Now, don't get me wrong. Not everyone's going to revere. You're still going to have your guys over there who just want to hate just because they want to hate. Because they need someone to hate. They need a target to hate. Which is a good portion of Phil's fan base. You find them on his website who just talk about detractors all damn day. Because in truth, that's all they really care about. They don't even care about Dave. They just care about hating on other detractors because it's something to do. What do you call them, Phil? Oh, you call them your friends. So, in truth, you're actually putting down the very people who are in your fan base and who you depend on. Like, for example, when you were trying to take some of those videos down, you had to go to some guy or guys and have them go through hundreds of hours of footage to see if that was considered slander, so they would have the basis to take the videos down. Did you not? Just saying. And the thing is that's interesting about that individual, or at least one of them, that's where the leaks came from, is he had a job, he had a career, he had school, he has a girlfriend, he had something to do. And he said, no problem, I'll get to it when I get a chance. Instead of doing it on your dime, on your time, the way you wanted it. It's telling. That's very telling. It's just like, in a lot of ways, hearing Dave give you guys a review about politics when the only thing he knows about politics is what's on Twitter. No. No. Not at all. No one can take you seriously at that point. And that's why he wants to keep his fan base away from the detractors. But the thing is when he does that appreciation stream, I'm anxious to see what's going to be the fallout of that. I wonder how you say your content is so good because everything's so positive and people won't give you a chance, when you have to look deep into your own eyes and look at your content and see how shit it's been over the last couple of years. What are you going to have to say about that? And you're going to have a couple hundred eyes on you. Remember that, Dave, when that time comes. Let's continue.
They're so insignificant on this planet that do you actually think that getting some kind of negative attention or reinforcement on some random streamer's stream actually gives them some kind of value or worth? When in reality, it's actually quite the opposite. It just shows that they have no value or actual positive worth, in existence. And they have to basically try.
Now, let's talk about that briefly, because that right there is insane. Ladies and gentlemen, every man, woman, and child that walks this planet has some worth. despite how much money they have, despite where they came from, their background, religious belief, whatever you want to call it. Everybody has some type of value or worth within existence. So to have this slob sit on his goddamn couch and say that none of these people have any worth in existence is insane. Now, here's where my problem has come into play. He perpetuates that thought process into children to believe that. To believe that another person who doesn't think the way you do or who has a criticism of you has no worth whatsoever, and who can be discarded as such. Which is ironic, to be honest with you, because if I believe correctly, the Nazis believe the exact same way. As do most racist groups, if I remember correctly. So, with that being said, Phil, directed this to you. How much is your existence worth? You've had 36 years on this planet, and if I had to guess, and I'm sure if I guessed right, you've bitched and complained and you've used people your whole time. From the moment that your lips met your mom's tit, that's all you did was take advantage of people. And not much has changed. You're on your couch with debt, convincing children to give you money, and then wanting them to... Ooh, let's word that differently. You're convincing people to give you money to pay your debts, to pay for your lifestyle, and your girlfriends, and whatnot, because running a stable is expensive, and pay your way, while you do what? Medicare would say to provide a simple piece of entertainment, which, like he was saying with the not Kumite, but with with internet blood sports, you have a simple format to follow, and you can't do it for whatever reason. Phil can't seem to get it right. You've been around for 10 years because you couldn't do anything else. I would assume a much bigger YouTuber would have taken you down a long time ago if he or she thought it was worthwhile. Or maybe like similar to Medicare, they just like a good shit show. And that's kind of what you are. You're just a shit show. You're something to laugh at. But yet you still perpetuate a type of thought process which is disturbing. It's disturbing because you don't think. See, in a couple of weeks, ladies and gentlemen, he'll deny he ever even said that. But right now, or at least at this particular moment, he's okay with saying that. But then he gets mad when people say what he does is useless. And what he does is useless. People have evolved past what he produces. It's outdated. It's insignificant. It's worthless. But he would defend that tooth and nail. But yet, these people have no self-worth or no worth whatsoever in existence. One more question real quick, Phil, before we go ahead and continue with this broadcast. I noticed that you harp on your Italian heritage quite a bit. And I suppose you have a reason, even though you don't speak you don't speak a lick of Italian. The last time I checked, Italy is a beautiful country which has a great culture, for sure. But you are Polish too, and the Polish have a very interesting history in its own right. Tragic in a lot of ways, but still interesting nonetheless. It's a type of lesson. It's a type of lesson that shows the best and the worst of humanity. What's happened to people in Poland, and just their general history in general. Sorry about that. I said general twice. But how much about that do you know? Or do you look at them, or do you look down upon them too? And that's why you don't want to acknowledge that. I'm just curious. That's just a random thought on my part. Well, I guess the next time someone asks me to pose a question to them, I'll ask them to pose that to you in stream chat. DSP News.
Find themselves be known in any way, shape, or form. Okay?
That's trolling 101. I mean, a lot of people will try to disguise trolling and sugarcoat it and say, oh, trolling is just innocent fun. In reality, it's not. In reality, what it is, it's people who are pathetic, who just want to get attention, because the bottom line is if they had enough positive attention on their own lives, they wouldn't be trying to do negative stuff. You know what I mean? Why would you be toxic to other people?
Why am I toxic? More toxic, over dramatic, drama queen toxic. Yep, I'm toxic.
If you have so much positive stuff going on in your life, you would want to focus on that. You see what I mean? And that's really the core of trolling. It's
a mental condition when you really think about it. Someone who's just so messed up, their life is so worthless, and or they get no value out of anything positive they're doing.
Wait. So trolling is now a mental condition. Trolling isn't looking at coming out here. Now, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, trolling and 24-hour ops are two different things. But to come out here and make fun of someone who he himself spends the majority of his time making fun of other people too, that's a mental condition. So then you suffer from it too, then, right, Phil? You're you know what I'm saying? You're a slave to it as well. So if anybody needs treatment, so do you. And to be honest with you, if you could just act like a decent human being, people might not troll you. But you can't do that. Apparently, most of the people in your fan base can't do it. And then, when people start to dig deeper on some of the individuals in your fan base, shit just gets weird. Like, real strange. And this Sidella thing, oh boy, what's he, 26? He's about to be 27 soon? You sitting there talking to 17-year-olds? Come on, man. Allegedly, Dave got away with that, but that doesn't mean you should do it, Sidella. Allegedly, of course. There's just kind of a whole lot of nonsense going on. What's going to happen if Sidella gets caught up in some dumb shit? Like, it's a real dumb shit. He gets called out. Are you going to defend him, Phil, or are you going to go ahead and throw him under the bus to save your own ass? I'm just saying, if we want to talk about negativity for a minute, let's talk about negativity. There's quite a few people in your fan base, Phil, that have done some rather interesting stuff. I'm just wondering. I just want to get a better perspective on the situation. Speaking of which, Phil, I hear that you made it onto television again about getting a job. I think the same guy who held that sign was the same guy who had the Sean Ranklin sign up too. Shout out to Sean Ranklin. So I'm sure you feel good about that. Is that what got you upset, Phil? You turned on a little bit of wrestling. You had your gin and Sprite there, and you're like, a good day of watching the Bella twins fuck up wrestling women's wrestling, I should say. They're both terrible, to be perfectly honest with you. And then you caught a whiff of that sign. Actually, isn't that on his Instagram? I think it is. I'll have to look that up. Maybe we'll make that the thumbnail. Yeah, maybe we'll make that the thumbnail. So, but trolling has become a mental condition now. Who knew? He's taking this way too far. He really is. But yet again, do you guys kind of see where I'm coming from now? There's a whole generation of children who haven't even developed a frontal lobe yet that are sitting here eating this shit up and believing that it's true. Not all of them are, because not all of them are stupid, but some of them are. Some of them are a bit peanutty and will gobble up everything he says. And the man doesn't realize, and I use that term loosely, that he has a level of responsibility. Just like he did on that stream chat with King Tut. He had some responsibility in the fact that he did nothing. And remember, Tut is part of his income, not the other way around. Just saying. DSP News.
Their life that they have to now turn it into some negative vibe against someone else who has positivity in their life.
So, yeah, there's a group of people who will come in here and just do that stuff. You know, in particular, you see it with people who cheer or tip, and because they want to see that negative thing they're saying on the screen. Oh my God, did you see that negative thing I said on Phil's stream? Now, in reality, none of it affects anything. They're literally paying me to say stupid shit, which makes no sense at all because no one even pays attention to it, and I don't read it out, and I ignore it, and basically they're paying me for nothing, and literally they think they're getting value out of something that has zero value. That's really the truth of the matter. That's you know, just being honest about the situation. Yeah, to normal people, that makes no sense. People like you and me look at that and say, so you're going to come to someone's stream who you don't like, you're going to waste your time watching that entire stream, then you're going to pay money, actual money, to try to get recognition for something negative you're going to say just to get banned anyway. Yeah, and they actually think that's worth their time. Figure that one out. It just makes no sense, right? It really does make no sense, but that's life. The life of a streamer, right?
Oh, you're gonna get salt. It's even now, again, my mouth overpowered with salt flavor. Salt or no salt, you gotta have some salt. No salt, they end up being kind of bland. Yes, please pass me the salt, Karmika. I need more salt. Definitely.
So Hardy Buck did a cheer, talking about negative stuff with Detractors, even though he's referencing that I guess a Detractors channel was shut down off of YouTube. I know nothing about it, I'm not involved in it, and I don't care. So I say thank you, Hardy Buck, for the cheer, but this is exactly the kind of stuff we don't want talking about on the stream. So therefore, I'm not going to, definitely not going to be addressing this, okay? Alright, Eternal Napalm cheered. It says, how big of a dumbass must you be to pay someone you hate and waste your time just to try to get attention?
You gotta be a pretty big dumbass. I mean, I don't know what else to say. You gotta be a pretty huge, gaping, dumb ass in order to do that.
But they literally think they're getting attention. Wow, I have no attention, positive attention in my real life. Let me get negative attention on someone else's positive stream. Yeah! They think that it, like, hurts or you know, wow, I could watch a video back on YouTube where my name was plastered on the video for 5 seconds, a message no one read, something negative I said about Phil. Who cares? In reality, no one cares. It's hilarious.
Well, you do, because you're talking about it on your pre-stream for at length to push that narrative home. So obviously you care about it quite a bit, to be honest. And like I said, how positive is your life if people have something to say about it? Just saying. You're constantly messing up in some type of way, shape, or form. And for some reason, you haven't figured out how to learn from it. Instead, you want to avoid it. Which, I mean, if running from your problems is a thing, then I guess so be it. But that's only going to get you so far. So what are you going to do? You're going to run from all the detractors, then go up to whatever hill that you can find, and then be like, ha ha ha, you guys are just brain dead idiots? To then what? Once another detractor based on top of that hill for you to run back home to mom? You're going to pull a Sidella and be like, Mommy, Daddy, I call these people different types of names, but can you please tell them that you'll arrest them and prosecute them because they're mean to me? Stop. Is Sidella, in a lot of ways, because of how long he's been with Phil, is kind of proof positive of that. Is proof positive of grooming, in a lot of ways, these young individuals to be brain dead idiots. How is it that you're going to talk the shit that Sidella has done? You're going to make the death threats that he's done. You're going to threaten violence on the people, which is funny because that's out of his physical realm anyway. And then as soon as people crank up the heat on you a little bit, from a trolling standpoint, of course, no one threatened any violence on him. He had to run and say, oh, I'm going to tell Mommy and Daddy. You guys are going to stop right now. I'm going to call my Mommy and Daddy. What? Like, that's not how the rules work. Ladies and gentlemen, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you're at, think of it as the playground. And what happens on the playground stays there, essentially, for the most part. So you can't talk shit and then run, because at the end of the day, Sidella, especially how exposed you are, you know what I'm saying? You might be in the Detractor sandbox, but we're over there on your swing set, to be honest. And I'm waiting for that MILF of a mother of yours to bring out my milk and cookies. And please believe she's going to bring me the milk and cookies too. She's going to bring it for everybody. So you're going to have to share her. You know, I'm sure your father understands that. So yet again, what are we upset about? But then it all goes back to Phil and his behavior and his tendencies. He's a grown man who tries to talk grown man shit, but he's still just a child in his own right. And this is what he perpetuates. This is what he provides. He doesn't provide anything else. He doesn't provide anything positive. If Phil had any type of positive effect on anybody, that was years ago. And if you can find something positive out of something negative, good for you. And, you know, all the blessings to you for it. But last time I checked, ladies and gentlemen, 10% of nothing is still nothing. So if all this man knows is negativity, which is all he does know, that's really all he has, how can anything positive come out of that? Just because he was paid for it years ago? That he made enormous amounts of money for being a negative piece of shit? That's what makes it positive? No, that's not what makes it positive. It just means that he was around at a day and a time that allowed him to do that. And now he has to conform like some little bitch just to keep what little he has. He's no longer in control. He became the corporate whore that he used to blame other people for being. He's come full circle. And let him make any excuses he wants. A whore is still a whore. To be honest. So when he talks all this nonsense about Twitch thoughts and this, that, and the third, what makes you any better than any of them? Phil. Just saying. You're no better than they are. And in truth, they have more power than you. More power than you could ever have. On a platform that you've made your own personal hug box / prison. And you can never win. You know that you'll never evolve. And you'll never get any bigger or better on that platform without some type of artificial growth. It'll never be real. Just like your fame, just like your popularity, all that shit was fleeting if any of it ever existed. Just because a lot of people watch you doesn't make you good. It doesn't make you talented. It doesn't make you popular. It may be, just maybe, you were one of the few options that were out there. Maybe that's what it was. And at your age, you should be able to see that now. Because that's proof positive of what the situation is. DSP News.
Paying me, but, you know, it's just stupid. I don't know what else to say. You can't help stupid.
Cat, you need to get out now. That place is toxic.
The last Rambo did a 100-bit cheer. He says, why should a consumer care about what happens with the employees when all that matters is what you get for what you paid for? Because, yes, absolutely, there are people who only care about that. I guess what this would be a situation where if you have the ability to care, you can. You don't have to, but you can. I'll give you an example. When I go to my local grocery store, all right, I have a choice. I can either buy the orange that came from, I don't know, Zimbabwe, and it's like cheap, right? This is cheap produce. Or I can buy the produce that came from a more local farm that I want to support the fact that we can have local farms with healthy food. So you pay a little bit more for the local produce versus the produce from, you know, Bangladesh. People make these kind of choices all the time. I'm going to buy American made.
Wait, you're not in a position, though, to be making those type of choices. First and foremost, I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. When I go in to buy oranges or grapes or whatever type of produce that I want to get, I'm just going to get what I want to get. I don't really care where it came from. That's just, does it meet my conditions compared to when I need it? For example, like with bananas. Obviously, you don't want bananas that are going to go ripe unless you plan on making banana bread or banana pancakes or something out of it right away. If it's something that I want to kind of sit around for a few days, then so be it. So I'm looking for texture, I'm looking for flavor, and I'm looking for longevity. I don't really care where it came from because I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not there for that. I'm not there to make those type of decisions. Now, for Phil, he doesn't make those type of decisions either. Don't let him get you on all that hippie talk. What it really is, and he's kind of exposed it right then and there, is how is it that you are in financial straits, but yet you can choose to pick up this $2.50 like bundle of oranges, or pick up this $5 bundle of oranges because you give a damn about the local proprietors of it. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with supporting your local farmers and so on and so forth. That's actually a great thing. But Phil is not in the financial situation to be doing that. So what is he doing? What is he doing? So how is it, ladies and gentlemen, that he's sitting here telling his fan base, I'm in a bad spot. I got all these things hanging over my head, so on and so forth. The holidays are coming around. I have to buy all these games. I have to do this, that, and the third. I have to cut back on certain things. I can't go ahead and buy certain things to make my streams better because it's not financially feasible, so on and so forth. But yet, when it comes to his food, he doesn't mind paying top dollar. It sounds like that idiot from 2011 who used to splurge on all the best shit because he felt that he was worth it, which in turn helped him get into the debt that he's in the debt that he's at currently. That's kind of what it sounds like. And it sounds like he didn't change much. It just sounds like he found a better excuse. He found a better way of justifying why he does it. Could be just me, but that's what that sounds like. Now, at the end of the day, support what you want, okay? At the end of the day. Support what you want, especially if it's within your financial means. But for someone like Phil, it's not. It really isn't. Yes, he had 2 really good months. Congratulations to him for that. But that does not mean that takes away from the overarching problems that he still has. Because last time I checked, though I've never owed back taxes because, I don't know, I'm responsible, debt doesn't go away. So, outside of debt forgiveness, which I would assume what he's bringing in is more than enough to cover what his debt is, hence the reason why that hasn't been given to him yet, he might need to curve some of that. Or buy his fruit in bulk, which would make it cheaper anyway. But see, Phil don't want to do that. Because he feels he's above that. For those people in his fan base who like to come here and defend him, you might want to think about that moving forward. DSPNEWS. Well, that's if you made it this far.
Product versus the foreign product, right? So in the case of The Walking Dead, you've already bought the game, right? But you want to care about the people who made the game. These are the people who brought you these riveting, narrative-based experiences for the past 8+ years, and you actually care about these employees because of the amazing gameplay experiences they've brought you. You don't want to see these people now get thrown into a trash compactor and smashed into paste as if they're completely worthless automatons and they have no actual skill. And, you know, it's a moral decision. You know, it really is. It's a moral decision. There are people who actively will just look for the best price or actively look for the best thing to benefit them no matter what. And then there are people who will go out of their way to make active choices in their life because they feel that these are moral choices or benefits that will help others. That's the situation we're facing with the Telltale game situation right now. If you're dying to see episodes 3 and 4 and see a resolution to the story, great. But is it at the expense of people who worked their ass off for 8 years and now got thrown to the wolves with no severance pay, nothing, treated like shit? And now you're going to go and continue to, oh, well, thanks, at least I got my fucking game, right? Or are you actually going to care and you're going to make a stand? And I think that's what we're going to see. Is we're going to see
Care and make a stand how? Now, let's be honest about the Telltale game situation. I wanted to go on to the podcast with the fellas, who I know they talked about this at length, and I didn't make it in time. Poor planning mechanics on my end. But when it comes to the fall of Telltale games, first off, I hope that they'll get picked back up. I hope that they can continue the projects that they have on board. But in some ways, those projects are why Telltale Games is where it's at. They stretch themselves too thin. You know what I'm saying? You had so many things out there at once that it was just, they're probably spending more than what they were actually bringing in. Now, let's talk about the moral. Like I said, that's just one example. There's a bunch of reasons why Telltale's failed. As it pertains to the fall, or as it pertains to the people who are there are game studios, Phil, that come in and come out of business all the time. I don't hear you shedding a tear over any of that. So it's funny how Telltale Games was the hot topic on Twitter, as well as everywhere else, but certainly on Twitter. And all of a sudden now Phil wants to sit there and have some type of moral stance about it, which makes you just insincere. It makes you come off as kind of just a piece of shit, talking out your ass about a hot topic with nothing else to really add to it. And then try to go ahead and have these moral stance about it like it means anything. But if I remember correctly, watching in that stream, on that Tevin stream later on, did he not say that Telltale Games weren't that great anyway? No big deal? So that makes you a hypocrite then, doesn't it? You said one thing at one time because you thought it benefited you, to only a couple hours later, typical DSP fashion, you went ahead and shitted on it later. So how much did it really mean to you about those people who lost their jobs? How much did it really mean to you about those people who put 8 years in? And where does your moral compass land at when you have the nerve to sit there and say, the games aren't that great anyway, or the games are shit anyway? Just saying. Just putting things into perspective. He shouldn't talk. He really shouldn't. Don't get me wrong, Phil is shit at games regardless, but he really shouldn't talk. He's one of the worst people at it. If you can't stand by your word, then don't say anything. Rich is another one. Going back and forth with shit. Boogie's another one too. But people are used to for Boogie doing that now. When you make a stance on something, you stick to it. If you're wrong, then say that you're wrong. But don't sit there and straddle the fence about it. Or don't sit there and say one thing, only to a couple hours later say something else that completely wipes away your first point. It makes you kind of look like a piece of shit. Hashtag just saying. Hashtag buggy moral mechanics. Like, why does he do this to himself? Like, what's the point of all this? Where's the end game to it all? Is this what it means to be the realest guy on YouTube? Let's continue.
Big change in the industry now for this kind of stuff. You know? So, you know, it's okay. In my opinion, there's no definitive right or wrong answer. I just want you guys to understand that just because I feel one way doesn't mean you have to feel that way. I certainly don't know how I'm going to feel if they actually eventually do make episodes 3 and 4, but they don't actually, you know, use the people who...
But the thing is, if you saw the end of his episode 2 playthrough, he already wrote it off as in, oh, there'll never be a 3 or 4, good riddance, bye. That's pretty much how he finished that off, if you got a chance to see the ending of it. So, for him, like I said, right now, he's trying to stand on his soapbox and act like he has some type of moral compass to the whole situation. In truth, he don't give a shit. Like he does with most video games. They're merely to be played to recoup the money that was spent for the game, whether he bought the game or not, then make himself a little extra money, and then discard it. Just like everything else in his life. That has no other worth to it. That's harsh. But that doesn't make it any less true. DSPNEWS.
Their asses off to make all this happen, and they basically hire scabs to come do it. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I'm going to play it. But maybe you want to, right? That's up to you. That's your choice, you know what I mean?
Listen, I know that that's a little bit hypocritical.
I don't know if you can hear me or not. I got a serious question for you. When you were playing Kingdom Hearts, and your girlfriend installed the game in the stream chat, why did you put it in the sub-only mode?
Enough of this. I'm not playing this idiot.
Just my question.
I'm not playing this idiot. I'm not gonna listen to his bullshit. We're talking about something that happened like 2.5 fucking years ago. What a complete idiot. Here, you know what? We find a way to disable everything, so I don't have to...
Now look at this coward running. This situation happened 2 years ago. He can simply answer the question about, okay, man, I was feeling a little bit defensive because everybody was attacking my girlfriend. There you go. But what did Phil do? Well, Phil does what Phil always does. He insults, and he runs. Sowing the seeds of his own destruction through the very salt that he perpetuates. And look at him. Frantically trying to get the hell out of that chat. Scared to death to talk to people. Just like now. Which is funny because the realest person on YouTube, the one that's going to bring it to you, you know what I'm saying, whether you like it or not, is scared to interact with other people. Imagine that. Imagine that. The man who stands on this moral compass on, oh, I don't know if I can live with myself if they bring that out, if it's all just a cash grab, and at the expense of other people. But that's how I feel. If you feel differently, that's fine. It's funny how he says that, but then this shit happens. Which, yet again, just... which just shows the genius of Snort Burnell. Oh, boy. Alright, let's see the coward run. Hopefully the pig doesn't lose too much bacon, though, because no one wants lean bacon. You know, you need a little bit of fat there. That's where the flavor's at. Just saying. Rhyming accidentally.
These morons. How do you turn off chat? I don't even know. Audio output. Well, this is right. I'm not playing this guy. He can sit there all he wants. I'm not playing him. Nope. You don't get to play, dick shit.
You heard me, but I heard you insult me.
Ah, you're a piece of shit. Who gives a fuck? Seriously. Here, you know what? There. There. I don't have to hear this moron. I'm a complete idiot. He's talking about something that happened 2 fucking years ago on Twitch. I mean, could you be more of a fucking loser? Serious.
Fucking loser, yet I'm the one that's running. Running for my life. Scared to death. And every time the guy spoke to him, you heard the crackling in Phil's voice just a little more. And just a little more. Like, it was almost as if he thought that guy was gonna jump through his TV screen and strangle him. I know people with anxiety that doesn't act like that, has anxiety that doesn't act like this. But this right here is the realest guy on YouTube. This is that scared little guy. This is that scared little pig in his nice little house on the outskirts of Seattle, who doesn't leave outside of his house, who barely knows his neighbors, and at least he doesn't know them well enough that he has to email them. Who doesn't interact with anything, who doesn't get any sun unless he has to, who has to keep his girlfriend on a leash to make sure she don't run off like the last one did. That's what this man is. That's what this man brings to the table. Now, who's the loser again? Just out of curiosity. And I can see why, if it's true, that more and more detractors would have some type of sympathy for him. But how can you be sympathetic to someone who doesn't have any sympathy themselves? How many people could Phil have spared? How many people who did he go at and he could have backed off the throttle, but he decided not to because he wanted to look like a badass? He had high ground and he didn't want to give it up. It's hard for you to ask me to give him mercy when he himself had some of those same opportunities and didn't do it. It seems a bit hypocritical. Just saying.
The reason this guy joined my match was to do that. Not to play the game, not to have fun. He ruins it for everyone. Delays. People who want to play have to wait now, right? Because we have to listen to this fucking idiot. I mean, what? Ladies and gentlemen, you have found the...
They were going to have to wait anyway while you're losing. So, the wait time isn't actually an excuse. How did he ruin it for everybody? Because your butt hurt? You better suck that up. You better keep it moving. You're a gamer, guy. Losses are in there. You're going to have to take an L to get to the W. It's just the way it worked. The L's always come before the W, son.
To me of a loser on the internet. Find that man, find his fucking tag on PSN, and I give you permission to spam his fucking inbox with enough nonsense so that he never fucking is able to do anything ever again. Seriously. What an asshole. She's talking about...
Now, Phil has said in the past that he never actually did that. He never ordered anybody to actually go after this individual. The same way he said he never... in the same way that he said he never asked anybody to click ads. And how he wasn't taken off of the AdSense program for invalid click activity. Just another discrepancy, I'm sure. You know, I'm nitpicking again. That's what I do.
We played Kingdom Hearts 1. That was 2 years ago. He's asking the dumbest fucking question ever. What a complete...
And look how riled up he is. Someone tell him to pull this skirt down. Jesus Christ.
Idiot! My god, we're playing MKX in 2015, you fucking loser. Wow. Anyway, if only I could figure out how to disable voice chat so I don't have to hear people do stupid shit like that, but I can't, because guess what? There's no easy way to do it on PSN.
And yet, PSN is like his primary platform. Imagine that. He does have an Xbox, by the way. I'm pretty sure he does. It's collecting dust. Like his Switch. You know, because that's what happens when stuff's not useful to you. You just let it sit around and collect dust.
No fucking interest in playing the game. He just wants to waste everyone's time to bring stupid shit up from 2 years ago. That is the kind of guy who I want to punch. Like, that is the only way that idiot will ever learn anything is if someone knocks his fucking teeth out of his face. Then he won't...
So, we go ahead and send people to harass that individual. Now we want to bring violence upon him. Oh yes, Phil is just a hardworking guy who is trying to make a way for himself in the world, and it's unfair that people like me can shit on him day in, day out. This is compelling. Maybe you're right. Maybe he is the good guy you guys say he is, and maybe I am wrong. Maybe. But while I'm drinking my pumpkin spice caramel cappuccino here, I'm okay where I'm at. I'll be wrong if that's what it takes. Yeah, I'll be wrong. Because this right here shouldn't stand. If you don't like the Detractors and you feel that Phil's a victim, go and actually watch some of Phil's stuff, unfiltered. You don't have to see the greatness, which is Mr. Huffstuffs, Snort Burnell, Memology 101, Almighty Tevin, David Davison, S. Julius Cruz, Mighty D, Gout Police. I can keep naming them off all you want. You don't have to watch the greatness that those men and women provide. Go and watch his stuff unfiltered. And see how he actually reacts to people. How he treats people. And then you come back and you tell me what you want to tell me. Because I'm listening, because I've already listened to your comments beforehand. Whereas Dave would have already erased it. Go ahead, you can take your time and go and watch Phil's stuff and then come back and tell me how a good guy he is. I'll wait. DSP News.
anymore. But that's the problem. On the internet, everything's safe, right? Everyone can just troll anyone and do anything and say nasty shit and bring up stuff from 2 fucking years ago because they're cowards.
What pasta do you prefer? I prefer a penne. Oh!
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, that was that. Fun times to be had, I'm sure. What did we take from this situation? Well, that ending clip was fitting, as one would expect. His hatred for detractors is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing because the detractors are something of his own creation. And he knows that. And if he could somehow get them on his side and give him more positive publicity, he would sacrifice everybody in the pig cult to have it. He would. I swear to you, he would. But since he can't, he has to basically perpetuate and peddle out his Jim Jones type narrative, which is only destructive to the very people who listen to it and, sadly, those who believe it. But this is the reality of Phil Burnell. That same coward who's on the internet, who, you know, is not worried about getting hit because he can say whatever he wants, so on and so forth, is that coward. He is that individual. That face right there proves it all. The man's too scared to even come out of his house at times. When he was single, he wouldn't even leave his house during the day. He had to leave his house at night. At night to get things done. And don't be wrong, there's nothing wrong with shopping at night. If you're like me and have ever walked into like a Walmart at 3 o'clock in the morning, you find some interesting shit, and you see some interesting stuff. Oh my. But that's semantics. But what about Phil? He doesn't have a job. He doesn't have any real responsibilities. Nor does he have any real obligations. Well, his taxes. But we all have that. So what makes him so special? And what had him in such fear that he couldn't go out and do what he was supposed to do? Is the DC sniper out to go and get him? Last time I checked, that guy was in jail. Who is it that has the red light scope on him that he's so scared of? It's funny how the person who talks the most shit and who manipulates other people to do the dirty work for him is the one who's the most scared. It's ironic in a lot of ways. And kind of sad, to say the least. So, for people in his cult that want to, stand up for him, so be it. For those people who don't understand what Phil is to any real extent or his situation, look up some of his stuff first before you start making opinions. And I'm not saying you can't have an opinion. By all means, you should. By all means. But look a little bit deeper into what he is first before you start defending him. Because then, sadly, people might mistake you for one of his fanboys. And if you haven't been paying attention, because you don't know, DSP fanboys don't last very long. And I've seen people who've defended him, who weren't even fans of him, who ended up just getting lopped into that same group. And that's all they're kind of really known for. Which is sad. But then again, they probably should have just taken a little bit of time to see what comes up on them. Quick Google search or a quick YouTube search will give you everything you need. Doesn't take much. It really doesn't. But at the end of the day, do what you do. Do what you do. But it doesn't help. It doesn't help him. And at the end of the day, Phil's going to keep fucking up. And as long as he keeps fucking up, people are going to keep making videos on him. And for everybody else, have a good chuckle about it and just move on with your day. Which is the whole point of this anyway. Because as I've said, and I will say it again, there's no need to do anything to this individual. He will hang himself. Just give him time and just watch the show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking. Unreliable coverage that you can't count on. A GTG Network and Productions. I am your host / anchor GTG, and I'm signing off. Have a good day, everybody. And I'll see you guys after that appreciation stream of his. End of broadcast.